Now, most industries in the United States have watchdog groups that keep an eye on them, whether it's the government, food processors, even our own industry, television. Seems everybody's regulated by somebody, but who's keeping an eye on television preachers? As far as we know, only one man, a professor at Lakeland's Florida Southern College.
It's the 700 Club.
I don't look at TV preachers as being religious broadcasters. I look at them as being entertainers who also minister.
The PTL Television Network presents the PTL Club.
They're celebrities, they're personalities. They're fun to watch. Jim and Tammy were the most fun to watch of any TV preachers on the tube. And I love to watch Jim and Tammy. I couldn't stand what they were doing, but I loved to watch them.
And watching TV evangelists is what journalism professor Stephen Winzenburg has been doing for 8 years, viewing 10 to 20 hours of recorded programs a week, putting a stopwatch to the number of minutes and seconds each one spends preaching.
Yourself, lest you fall. That's right.
Or talking politics, or asking for money. He discovered on the average that they spend about a quarter of their airtime begging for funds.
Now that varies. Billy Graham spends 1%. Jerry Falwell spends up to 50%. It's almost 50% of his time asking for money or promoting one of his pet projects.
There's no question of whether we need these millions of dollars. We've got to have them.
But Jimmy Swaggart's fundraising efforts escalated dramatically after his scandalous association with a prostitute was revealed.
He only spent 8% of his airtime asking for money until he got caught in this scandal. Then the numbers started to go up in March of this year. In March of 1988, he spent 45% of his airtime asking for money. And by May, when he was getting ready to come back on the air and preach, he was spending 96% of his airtime asking for money.
Doesn't leave much time for preaching.
There was no preaching. There was no preaching at all. The gospel was, you send me money so that I can stay on the air.
I have sinned against you, my Lord.
Winzenburg says Jerry Falwell probably gets the award for the televangelist who spends the most time promoting himself and the least amount of time preaching. The best of the bunch, he says, is Billy Graham.
Billy Graham is probably the only TV evangelist that I would fully trust.
And we ought to have integrity in finances, in our personal lifestyle, in every way. And that would be true for all pastors as well.
Robert Schuller is a close second. I still have some questions about Schuller after investigating his organization, but he's pretty trustworthy.
And as for Oral Roberts, who said God would call him home if he didn't raise $8 million for his medical school.
And he said, I want you to raise the $8 million to turn it around above your regular needs.
Even after all the media attention last year when he said that God might call him home, is still number 4 in the religious ratings. People are still attracted to Oral Roberts for some reason.
Winzenburg's studies are not secret. He's published them and gained national recognition in the process. He's heard from almost all the televangelists. Many of them think he's doing a good work. Winzenburg is also out to dispel some myths about TV preachers. First of all, except for Pat Robertson, very few are politically active. And secondly, it's a myth that they all have huge audiences.
You have about 10 million people in the United States who watch all the TV preachers, and that's it. It's those 10 million people who are sending in the contributions over and over and over again. And you hear of lots of cases where the little old ladies are sending in money from their monthly pensions just to help Oral Roberts not die or help Jimmy Swaggart stay on the air after the terrible scandal.
But Winzenburg, who says he's a Christian, doesn't think all TV preachers are bad. He says only about 10 are really shady. The others make honest efforts to preach the gospel. He says somebody just needs to monitor them.
I try to look at it objectively, tell what the good things are, what the bad things are, and say what you need to do is work on the bad things, improve those.
God, loose these finances in the name of Jesus, I pray. God, give me a miracle.
Winzenburg says TV preachers are ranked by the number of viewers they have. According to him, number 1 with the highest is Robert Schuller. It used to be Jimmy Swaggart, but since his scandal has dropped to number 3. Number 2 is Ted Armstrong. Number 4 is Oral Roberts. Number 5, a Fort Lauderdale evangelist, DJ Kennedy. Now, following their recent woes, the once popular Bakkers had slipped to 13, and Pat Robertson has dropped to 16. Billy Graham is not ranked.
When first